What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Nerd Talk. I'm your host, Abe.
And I'm Mr. Clen.
So, guys, we are back today in our, not so nerd cave, but also extremely nerdy area, which I promise we'll be back in the nerd cave sooner or later. But we got a few episodes before that happens. So, today's episode is a really special one. Today we're talking about
the Xbox Series X and PS5.
the 9th gen consoles that are coming out this holiday season, guys. So we're both excited to talk about this. So we're going to start with PS5 because we're both Xbox guys. And so we kind of wanted to be completely unbiased. We're just going to talk about the stuff that we think is awesome, as well as the cold hard facts of the specs between the two consoles. Just to kind of give you guys, your representation of both consoles so you guys know what each of them does. Basically we're just going to go through that. We're going to start with PS5, and then we're going to go down to the Xbox because we have probably a lot to talk about when it comes to Xbox. Anyway, guys, let's get into this one. So, would you like to start it off? Let's talk about the PlayStation.
Why don't you start off with the specs, and
okay, sure.
I'll start us off with the games.
Yeah, sure. Okay, alright, let's do that. Alright, so guys, the PS5 specs. Alright, so we're talking about the, let's start with the CPU. So the CPU is an AMD Zen 2 based CPU with 8 cores at 3.5 gigahertz frequency. Okay, so that's a pretty good count. That's a pretty good CPU. I would say that's probably mid-high CPU for gaming computers. So it's pretty decent. GPU, 10.28 teraflops of computing power with 36 CUs at 2.23 gigahertz. As well as this GPU architecture being a custom RDNA 2. So if you guys don't know what all this is, it's just saying that that's a very, very medium high-end, well-built, GPU, which is the graphics card. So yeah, just in case you guys don't know what we're talking about here.
Just know it's a bunch of technobabble.
Yeah, exactly. I used to help build my dad's old computer, so I know all of the basics of this. I know what it's saying. I don't know how exact power that is, and I don't know where that is compared to modern specs, but I know that these are apparently very mid-high range gaming computers, essentially. So just kind of give you guys, any of those guys who are super nerds into this stuff, which is great. I used to have fun doing that too. But you guys get to kind of, compare and weigh the two things. And you'll notice just from the numbers themselves which console has the higher specs. Anyway, okay, so memory interface and bandwidth, 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 at 256 bits, memory bandwidth of 448 gigabytes a second, and internal storage device of an 825 gigabyte SSD. So obviously SSDs are much faster, if you guys didn't know that, for gaming purposes. A lot of people were upgrading their PS4s to have a SSD because it helped with the performance. I know that was a big thing. A lot of, if you watch YouTubers and stuff, when they did walkthroughs or gameplay stuff, they would talk about getting an SSD to help with the performance of the console and everything. So these ones have SSDs automatically built in, really nice ones. This is almost a terabyte. I'm still completely confused as to why they didn't have a terabyte hard drive, especially since the Xbox, which you'll find out, does have one. It was a little weird. It seems a little underpowered, and I don't know if that's just because this was what they had available to them. And I know they have to hit a certain price point, which is something we'll talk about. We're going to get to some rumors after talking about the games, but it does seem a little bit underpowered, especially when you go and read the Xbox stats. Which is, it's not like it's that much underpowered. It is a small margin, but it's clear that the Xbox does have more powerful specs.
Yeah, and as you said, this might be just stuff that they had available to them, but it feels like they've made a few questionable decisions about some of this.
An 825 gigabyte. First of all, that's a weird number. And then second of all, why didn't they just pick a terabyte hard drive? Especially, I think when the PS4 Pro, has a terabyte hard drive already built into it. So that's kind of, again, kind of weird that the PS4 Pro has a better hard drive than the PS5.
And
Really
honestly, I think it's just so they can come out with the next version of the PS5 later that'll come with built-in terabyte.
It could be, they did do the weird incremental upgrades for both the Xbox and PlayStation. And they might do that again this generation. We don't know yet, but I mean that's a different talking point, man.
Yeah.
That's a conversation we gotta get into at some point. But we won't bother you guys with that right now. All right, so that's the specs, guys. Now let's talk games.
Yeah.
Would you like to start us off with just kind of talk about some of the games that you know about and seem like some fun, you know?
So I haven't heard too much about it. I haven't been really keeping up on all of the games, but isn't Spider-Man 2 supposed to be coming out for it?
So it is actually a spin-off game called Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh.
If you guys played the first one, which is a phenomenal game, one of the best selling points of getting a PS4, just so you guys know, because it's a fantastic game. It's very Batman Arkham inspired and kind of that awesome combat system, but it's fucking Spider-Man and it was great. Really enjoyed that game. Anyway, Miles Morales, which was a character introduced into the game and is another version of Spider-Man, is actually going to be getting his own standalone spin-off game. Now everybody thought at first, it was like, whoa, wait a second, is this Spider-Man 2? No, there is going to be another Spider-Man. There's going to be a Spider-Man 2. And then there was also rumors that this was an expansion, blah, blah, blah. No, this is its own standalone secondary game, and it's going to launch on the PS5. I believe later this year, when the PS5 comes out. So we don't know a lot about that particular game, but that looks really cool. If you guys like the first one, it's going to be basically that, but you get to play as Miles Morales and kind of get to dive into his world, which is awesome. So this is like adding an extra layer of nerdness to this because I get to sit here and talk about Spider-Man all day.
Yeah.
I mean, I am wearing a Marvel t-shirt, guys.
Let's try to
get back into it. Another one, I'll bring up one, is the Horizon series. There was a game called Horizon Zero Dawn on PlayStation 4 that was a phenomenal looking game. I never got the opportunity to play it. I did watch some gameplay and I've heard some of the story, but that is getting a huge sequel. I think it was the Forbidden West or the Forbidden East. I can't remember what it was. But that looks fantastic. I think the first game was fantastic. So I'm assuming the sequel is going to be some great stuff too. And then there's a big one. There's a big one that we haven't seen in a long time by our friends over in Insomniac. Ratchet and Clank is getting a new game, guys. That is a really big talking point. And we won't dive too much into it because we want to talk about a lot today in this episode. So, but that looks awesome. I love the Ratchet and Clank series. I remember playing on the PlayStation 2 all those games. Those were so much fun. So yeah, guys. Anyway, new Ratchet and Clank 2. So those are the three main big talking point ones. I mean, is there anything else you can think of? I mean, there's a lot of third-party games they announced too.
Okay, so it's not a game it's already come out, and when I say this, you're already going to know my standpoint on this, and I'm going to make it very clear. The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
I think it'll look amazing, but he already knows my standpoint.
Yeah,
from everything I've heard and watched.
I
don't like it.
Let's just not get into it, guys.
But either way, I think that it's going to look amazing on the PS5.
The other one is, and this is actually just third party, but they did announce that they're going to do a new version for the new generations. GTA 5 is getting a massive upgrade for the new consoles, including new, a much larger expanded map, completely redone textures and graphics, so it all fits and works with the new stuff.
So it might actually be worth buying the new version of GTA 5.
Yeah.
Unlike, every remaster of RE4.
Really? Anyway, let's get over it. Let's get over that one, all right? Anyway, guys, But yeah, okay, so that was kind of some of the games. Let's talk about a couple of the rumors. Some of the pricing rumors have been certainly interesting. I've heard everything from $1,000 to $700 to the normal, what you'd expect as the $499.
Dude, I've heard it. I've heard the highest rumor up to 1,200.
That's ridiculous, man. I mean, that is, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where all these price ranges are coming from. Because honestly, if you were to build a computer with these kind of specs, you probably only spend like $600, $700. I mean, if we're just being completely honest, and you might even get one cheaper that's still just as good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so I really don't believe those really high prices. However, the $499 price range, which is literally par for the course for the last however many generations, that's really par for the course. And then obviously the digital version, which they announced the all digital version, which basically just doesn't have a included disk drive. I'm sure that'll be either probably about $100 cheaper, so probably $399. And I'm assuming that the Xbox will probably be the exact same price. However, we're gonna have to talk about some of those pricing rumors too, because we got some juicy stuff there. Because there's been a lot of stuff been talked about that lately, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so there's some weird rumors like that going around. Some rumors that were proven false, like Silent Hill being a new rebooted exclusive title on PlayStation. That was bullshit. We got past that during the PS5 reveal, and they revealed all the main games. Just to be a little bit biased and criticize them a little bit, they don't have very many games on offer as a launch, kind of.
As of right now, that we know of.
Well, no, I mean that's it. That was the PS5 reveal. Was their big game reveal. So they don't have other games that are coming out are like third-party ones. So I don't know, man. It just seems like a little lacking. I don't know. I don't know. On the first-party front, it's a little lacking. Even on the third party front, there's not a lot coming out that we know of. Of course, when we get to Xbox, there'll be more third party reveals as well as their first party reveals. Which their first party reveal is basically just going to be an hour-long segment. I'm just kidding. Of Halo Infinite. No, not hour-long. It'll probably be like 10, 20 minutes, whatever. But we'll have a nice reveal of that. And that kind of just drags us into Xbox. Let's hop off of PlayStation 5. So that's the PlayStation 5 for you guys. Now let's talk about the Series X. Alright, you want to just kind of introduce us, kind of just talk about the...
So, for all of those who have been on the internet, you should know the Xbox Series X as the refrigerator.
Yes.
So...
yes, this console war is between
the refrigerator and a router.
Yeah, a router and a refrigerator. So guys, let's talk about the Refrigerator X. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, so the specs. I'll go into the specs again, just because it's really quick for me to just go through them. Okay, guys, processor. 8-core AMD Ryzen Zen 2 architecture CPU at 3.7, 3.8 gigahertz, which is some fluctuation right there. And then into the graphics, we have an AMD new Navi RDNA 2 family GPU with 52 CU at 1.825 gigahertz with 12 teraflops of computing power, which obviously you can tell that's immediately much stronger than 10. Yeah, that's two teraflops, more. Not that matters, but it's just basically much faster. That's just the basics of it. So their video memory is a 16 gigabyte GDDR6 with 14 gigabytes per second at 320 bit with a 320 bit interface, and then 10 gigabytes at 565 gigabytes per second, which is clearly faster. Allocated to the GPU, 6 gigabytes at 336 allocated to the rest of the system. God damn. With 3.5 gigabytes for the GPU. That was a mouthful, but just basically saying that they have a lot stronger video architecture for their graphics and stuff. So that means they have the capability of having more graphically intensive games, or better looking games in general, or better looking versions of games in third party than the PS5 will this year. So that is automatically interesting. Like we said before, that this clearly has a lot more power to it. And the other thing is they are custom built. A lot of this stuff is custom built.
And as I was going to say,
between Microsoft and the Xbox.
As I was actually going to bring that up because before we got into this, I kind of forgot about that because I think if I remember correctly, PlayStation was just using what was on the market to everyone, while Xbox was actually custom building their own stuff, some of their own stuff. So
in which that reflects very easily within what they're obviously the specs. Now you're thinking, oh man, this is probably going to be much more expensive. The thing is we already know that both Xbox and Sony, Microsoft and Sony, are both trying to undercut each other in the price range. So it's kind of safe to say that they'll probably end up being very equal in the price range. And I'm just gonna guess right now it's gonna be that $499 or $399 price range. I wouldn't expect it to be anything higher or lesser. However, we will be talking about something else in a minute when we get to the rumors. Okay, guys, storage: a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD with proprietary 1 terabyte SSD add-on module. USB 3.2 external HDD support, which means you can still have your external hard drives, which is great. Yeah. I didn't read anything about that in the specs, or I don't remember reading anything about that in the specs for the PS5, but I would assume you probably can get your external hard drive for the PS5 as well.
If not, then that's a serious downgrade on their side.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially since you can with the PS4. But anyway, keep going. So it does have a 4K Blu-ray player, optical drive, as well as a maximum output resolution of 8K, which is absolutely ridiculous and awesome. It also runs at 4K, 120 FPS at this maximum frame rate. It has ray traced audio, some features that don't matter on the controller, unknown VR support. You can stream on the console, obviously. There's backwards compatibility with literally everything. Your entire Xbox library on your Xbox One currently will be basically completely available at launch on your new system, which is incredible because you don't have to worry about, do I have to get a thing to upgrade to the new Xbox, blah, blah. No, you don't have to worry about upgrading your games or getting an entirely new library. Everything you already have is there, plus they have optimized for Series X, which is a program where they have basically upgraded textures and graphics for certain games that you already own, and you get that for free as soon as you're on your new Xbox, which is awesome, because that means you have stuff to play right off the bat. You don't have to worry about getting something new. Amazing. Of course, we are sure that PlayStation, Sony, they haven't announced anything yet, but we're sure they'll end up doing their own version of, some kind of backwards compatibility, because they kind of need to. If they don't have something like that available, well, let's just say that this will be a really easy race for Xbox to take back over.
Yeah, because
I'm telling you right now that Sony's not stupid enough to do something like that. So I'm not even worried about that. I'm sure Sony will, but again, if they don't, that's really stupid. But we know they will. So anyway, moving on, real quick. The Xbox One controllers will still be compatible with your new Series X. So if you have a really nice controller that you bought, you spent a lot of money on, because they cost like $80, which is
ridiculous.
completely ridiculous. But if you bought a really nice limited edition controller for your Xbox One,
or even
you
a
can
Pro
use it on
controller.
yes, or a Pro controller, you can use that on your Series X. Awesome. Also, it will still have the Xbox Game Pass, which is an incredible feature that we won't get into because it's a whole other topic. And its release date is around November. So guys, that's the specs for the Xbox Series X. Now let's talk some games.
Obviously, the biggest game and their biggest driving force is going to be Halo Infinite.
Of course, with the final mainline Halo game, we're assuming ever, which they've spent almost 2 extra years in development past how many years they spent developing Halo 5. So, it's going to have a huge multiplayer, a huge campaign, and then God knows what else at this point. We don't know much, but come this July, which is not far, well, it actually is July now. But come later in the month, I think in like a couple of weeks, we're going to find out about Halo Infinite, as I'm sure probably like Forza Motorsports 8 or something like that, or Forza Horizon 5 or something, I don't know, one of those games. One of those new Forzas, I'm sure, and then they'll probably announce something else as their first-party launch exclusives, which again,
I think
not a lot, but however, the interesting thing is that, which does really kind of suck, is that the Series X will not have any of its own completely exclusive games, which means Halo Infinite will be able to be purchased and played on, of course, your Xbox One.
And for
however, it's just not going to look. Sorry,
it's not going to look as good as I was just trying to say.
Yes,
But for those of you who don't know, Halo Infinite on release will also be coming. Will also be there on Game Pass.
Yes.
So if you don't want to spend the whole $60 right there, if you want to try it, just
sorry,
do that.
not to cut you off, but that's kind of into the Game Pass conversation.
I was just
which I do want to talk about. I do want to talk about the Game Pass thing.
We'll just cover it on another video.
Yeah, you let me finish. Anyway, yes, it's gonna be. We're gonna talk about the Game Pass stuff on its own video because there's a lot to talk about there, and to talk about the game services programs that Microsoft has that Sony doesn't, and that's a huge part of why I still think Xbox is not gonna die like every fanboy of Sony wants. Just to kind of get that out there. It's the reality is that Xbox has a lot of amazing things going for it, and especially with the new console being just considerably, obviously it's considerably stronger, and that's just from factual evidence of real specs, of the real spec sheets for both consoles.
So
anyway, let's talk more games.
We
were on the games topic here. Let's not jump off that too far. We're both a little ADD, so just give us a break.
This is actually probably going to be the last thing that I'm going to mention. We're probably going to mention about games because we got to try and wrap up the video because we're trying to make this one a little shorter.
Yeah.
But it's also going to segue into theories, because as we mentioned with PS5, there was a theory that a new Silent Hill game might be coming out. Now we're starting to think that maybe because of just the fact that the Series X has stronger specs, Konami might have signed an exclusive deal with Microsoft instead.
I was gonna say, I came up with this theory.
Yeah, well, you did.
But I did come up with this theory because I was thinking to myself, was like, it would actually be an extremely good move for Microsoft because they don't have a lot of major exclusives to sign some kind of exclusivity deal with a company like Konami on a game franchise as big as Silent Hill. That's just a really smart move in my opinion. Everyone's like, oh, it'd be a really smart move for Sony. That's like if Sony wanted to absolutely kill Microsoft. But obviously that's not going to happen. But it's a really good thing for Microsoft because Microsoft doesn't have as many exclusives for right now anyway, until all of their brand new first party studios start putting out their new games, which would be another year or two away, and He just kicked me. That's why I looked at him like a jackass. Anyway, so they don't have. We're still a couple of years out before a bunch of brand new major exclusives start coming out in droves. But it would be a really cool idea for them to do something. It would be really cool if they did something like that. Anyway, guys, let's talk about the Xbox Series S. Yes, you heard that right. The Series S, not the X. So this thing is essentially your beer cooler, your mini fridge, if you will.
Your Alexa cube.
Yes. So it's basically just the all-digital version of the Xbox Series X. It is also apparently slightly less powered to basically be your home entertainment unit instead of your hardcore gaming unit, which is really cool because that gives more people more options when they want to buy something. But there's a big rumor, okay?
Because it's less power and it's probably going to have less storage size.
Yeah.
It's rumored to
and
be...
also no disk drive.
Yeah.
It's all digital.
It's rumored to be $200 or $300.
Which is huge, because that could really undercut Sony. That would be awesome. That'd just be really cool, because it gives more people more options, and it also, it's just, obviously, Sony's all-digital consoles are still going to be like $300, $400, which is crazy. So if the Series S is, less money, that'd be just awesome. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's the Xbox. That's the PlayStation 5. We hope you guys enjoyed. So we're going to get into something funny. We wanted to do some crazy news headlines. Just to kind of read them off, get our reactions, and kind of just have you guys react with us a little bit. And so we've read this first one already, but we'll read it to you guys. We knew this was going to be funny, so... it's from like a sports paper, and the headline is Rangers get whiff of colon. I definitely don't think they meant what we thought, but it's still hilarious. Alright guys, let's go to the next one. So the next one is Ford Reagan neck in presidential
Ford Reagan neck in presidential primary.
Reagan. That's certainly some terrible way to to put that.
Well, to be fair, getting a whiff of colon isn't much better.
That's true. Alright, so number 3. Student excited dad got head job. And then it shows this picture of a girl going, that's
Is it bad
priceless.
that when I was skimming over that, I thought it said student executed dad got head job?
Yes, that's bad. That's even worse. Jesus God. Clear your mind out of the gutter there, buddy. Statistics show that teen pregnancy drops off significantly after age of 20. That was completely ridiculous, and that was his real laugh. But clearly somebody had to make the most obvious headline of all time with that. No shit, huh?
It ends after fucking age 20.
Alright, next one. One-armed man applauds the kindness of strangers. He has one arm. What is it?
And if you're wondering the name of this person, it says, Jay Cronley.
Why does that matter? It's not funny.
Look him up and...
This guy's messed
I'm
up.
an idiot.
Just to ignore him, he's a fucking idiot.
I just said that.
Yes, anyway. Alright, lady checks off
Oh
the
my
hot
God.
conference. Jesus Christ, you barely can hear these fucking over us. Jesus God, I'm so sorry.
Lady jacks off to hot start in conference. And it shows a black and white basketball picture.
I believe it was supposed to be Lady Jax off to a hot start in this conference. Jesus, God, that man. Some of these are terrible. All right, guys. Homicide victims rarely talk to police.
Oh my god.
No shit, really.
I know what they're trying to say,
Yeah,
but
still. Oh my god. You guys gotta hear this one. A rod goes deep, Wang hurt.
a rod goes deep, Wang hurt.
They're talking about baseball, believe it or not. Not what you guys are thinking. All right, number 9. Waterford boy 8 saves sister's life. Wait, what does it say? I wouldn't do it again. She's been a pain this week. Oh god, I can already see the next one. Alright, let's just get into the next one.
Porn star sues over rear end collision.
Oh my god.
Don't you like that kind of stuff, lady?
Alright, well that's enough. 10 of them are, that's more than enough. There's like 25 of them here, but we don't have a lot of time, so. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll continue to do these funny bits at the end if you guys enjoy them. It's good for a good laugh, you know. So, guys, we hope you enjoyed the entire episode, and we'll, of course, be back for more Nerd Talk next week when we have a special guest joining us because our good friend here is going on a little bit of a vacation, so we're going to have a special guest, co-host for the episode.
And
to be revealed at a later date.
And just because I'm going to be gone for a while, I hope until I get back, my laugh haunts your dreams.
I've been Abe.
And I'm Mr. Clinton.
We'll see you in the next one.